Before we jump into the episode today, I want to share something with you from my heart. First of all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really can't tell you how much your support means to me. We've been doing the podcast now for almost 4 years. I can't even believe it. And I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you that listens, shares an episode with your friends, sends me a DM or a text message letting me know how an episode resonated with you or any aha moments. Seriously, I couldn't be more grateful to be able to create this podcast. It has been such a blessing in my life, and I love hearing the ways it's been able to provide value in yours as well. One thing you might not know is how much work it takes to be consistent with a podcast. In fact, did you know that the majority of podcasts don't make it past episode number 10? And we are well beyond that. And it's just a lot thinking of the episodes, recording them, editing them, managing the guests, making sure that everything runs smoothly and gets uploaded consistently and regularly. And so that's why I have created an amazing opportunity for you to support the podcast monetarily. And in exchange for that, you will get exclusive premium subscriber content. So for as little as $3 a month, you can become a premium subscriber of the podcast. And every month I will upload new voice-guided workouts and breathwork meditation audio for you. So that way you can work out with me, coaching you in your ears. You can also take a moment to reduce your stress and relax and come down and ground down with one of my breathwork audios. So if that is on your heart to support the podcast for as little as $3 a month to become a premium podcast subscriber, I can't tell you how much that means to me and the growth of this podcast. I appreciate you. If you're interested, click the link in the description, become a premium podcast subscriber, new content every month, and while supplies last, I'll send you an exclusive podcast coffee mug so you can have your self-love and sweat coffee every morning. I appreciate you. Now let's get into the show. Welcome to Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast, the place where you'll get inspired to live your life unapologetically, embrace your perfect imperfections, break down barriers, and do what sets your soul on fire. I'm your host, Lunden Souza. Hey friend, it's me, Lunden Souza, online lifestyle transformation coach. I help people all over the world just like you who know they are meant for more, get their mind right and their body tight, and go from crazy busy to crazy happy. And hey, if it's our first time meeting, welcome. So happy to have you. And if you've been with us for a while, it's so great that you're here too. I'm really excited to share this episode of the Self-Love and Sweat podcast with you. Hey, I want to tell you quickly about 2 ways that you can get connected beyond the podcast to uplevel your health, your life, your fitness, reach your goals, but also support the podcast as well. So the first option is our Self-Love and Sweat monthly members only meetup. We meet up on the last Saturday of the month on Zoom for 90 minutes to cover some important topics, to answer your questions, and then to also do a workout together. It's a great way to have that support, have that accountability, get supercharged, and get reminded that there are other people all over the world on this journey of self-love and sweat, and you don't have to do it alone. You can join your first month for only $1 using code SELFLOVE1 at checkout, and then it's $27 a month after that. So you go to lifelikeLondon.com/monthly, use the code SELFLOVE1 at checkout to try us out, test it out for only $1 for your first month, and then you can be on board to listen to the podcast, join up on the meetups, and just really feel like you're connected and thriving on this journey to reach your goals. The second option is our Strong at Home for Women 8-week dumbbell-only workout plan. We have women all over the world getting stronger from the inside out right at home, right? So we're ready to take action to get stronger despite the circumstances of the world. And we know that we're not about to do that alone. So embark on this 8-week journey with us. You can go to lifelikeLondon.com/strong at home. You can pick up your 8-week plan. And the exciting thing is that every 8 weeks, we open it up, myself and my co-coach, for VIP all access coaching with us. So not only do you get the plan, but you get Zoom fireside chats with us. You get an exclusive way to chat with us anytime so you can ask your questions, share your progress. And we're always continuing to stay connected and motivate and inspire each other on our journey to get stronger, no matter what that means for us. So if you know that you're meant for more, you're ready to get stronger from the inside out, and you're just like, yes, I need a plan and some structure, something to tell me what to do. I know I'm ready, but I need that coaching. I can't do it alone. We are here for you. You can go to lifelikeLondon.com/strong at home, pick up the plan, figure out when our next VIP all access registration is opening so you can get that support and guidance. And the third thing, I said there was two, but the third thing is you can do both. You can join us for those monthly meetups. You can be there for the 8-week program. You know, this coaching and this support is here for you. We want to get you real results that last so you never have to start over again. And so you guys are awesome. Enjoy this episode. Get connected. Self-love and sweat, friends. Hey, welcome back to Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast. I'm coming to you this week from San Francisco, California. I had the absolute honor of marrying a friend of mine and his wife, being the minister at their wedding. So I'm here in San Francisco. It's so beautiful this week. We had a great time at the wedding, which is kind of what stemmed the topic for today's episode, or this week's episode. But it's been so beautiful. I just went for an amazing run. I went up and down the Lion Street steps. I don't know if many of you have been to San Francisco. If you have, maybe you've stayed for a while, and it's really near the Presidio, that like green area, really close to the Golden Gate Bridge. And oh my gosh, these steps totally kick my butt every single time I come back. So I'm here for the rest of this week, actually house sitting and cat sitting for the couple that I married. So they're close friends of mine. And yeah, while they're in Mexico on their honeymoon, I'm hanging out with their cat Dexter. And Dexter's 18 years old, right? Which is like super old for a cat, but he's super cool, super chill. And he's like my little roommate for the next week. So anyway, today I want to talk with you about getting back on track. Okay. I don't mean starting over. I don't mean starting from scratch. I mean literally just like getting back on track after a weekend, a few days, maybe even a vacation where you just feel like, oh, man, that was a lot. You know, this weekend, the wedding was super fun. A great group of people, all amazing. It was such an honor to be officiating the wedding and then just to be there. It was really fun. On Thursday, we did like a rehearsal dinner. On Friday, we all went wine tasting in Sonoma in wine country. And then Saturday was the wedding. And I just feel like, 3 days in a row of hearty food, alcohol, and socializing and just all of that. It's exhausting. And like my body was really tired. I'm not used to doing a lot of those things, especially consecutive days in a row. But nonetheless, I was like, okay, I'm going to own it. I'm going to have a good time. It's for my close friend for their wedding. A lot of our friends from Austria were visiting as well. So I got to spend a lot of time with my former colleagues from Runtastic and who are also my friends. And so I just felt like, all right, Lunden, you're just going to enjoy it, have a good time, control what you can control. And most importantly, just enjoy it and then be present with the people and at the event. And so now it's Tuesday and I posted about this yesterday. The time of recording it is Tuesday. And on Mondays, usually on Instagram, I post a 60-second Monday mindset. And I was talking about this just for a quick minute, 60 seconds on Reels on Instagram about getting back on track and some tools and tips and things that, maybe you've thought about these before. Maybe you've used them before. I mean, they really are pretty basic, some to-dos, some mindset shifts and things like that, just to help you get back on track after a weekend like the one I had, right? So I'm 33 and I swear that drinking alcohol in my 30s is so different than it was in my 20s. And I just feel like today I went and did that workout and I'm like, It's Tuesday, and last time you drank and like did something was Saturday. So that's like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I don't know how old you are for those of you listening, but in your 30s, at least in my experience, hangovers last a few days. And so yeah, I just was talking about this on Instagram and then just really saying, hey, it's going to take a while for me to, not a long time, but a few days to get back in the swing of things. Here's what I've been doing. Here's what's helped me. And I shared that on Instagram. So I kind of want to elaborate on that a little bit more since that was only 60 seconds. And yeah, we got time here on the podcast. But I mean, you guys, we've all been there. And I think honestly, what sucks the most now about hangovers and kind of like this off track feeling, at least for me and in my experience, is because I know how good it feels to feel good. Like I know how good it feels to get, 8 to 9 hours of sleep, to take magnesium baths with essential oils and relax, and to have a regular workout routine. I know what it feels like to eat super healthy and clean and just feel energized and focused and clear. And so I almost just get annoyed with myself when I drink and kind of party and have a good time, not because I think it's bad or whatever. I'm just like, oh, I feel like crap. And I feel more like crap because I know how good feeling healthy feels. And so I think regardless of where you are on your fitness journey or how you feel or whatever, I think everyone listening, I think for the most part, and if not, I mean, always shoot me a message on Instagram. I love talking with you guys, but I think for the most part, whether we're in that feeling now or not, we know what it feels like to feel good, at least at one point in our life where we had like good habits and routines, working out regularly, taking care of our mindset, our body, recovery, kind of all that. So whether you're in that phase of feeling awesome, or you're like kind of how I'm feeling, a little bit meh and funky, I think we can all think of a moment that we felt super, super good. And so sometimes when we're in that kind of almost that downward spiral of feeling kind of crappy and just tired and whatever, I like to remember that. I like to remember like, oh, it's just going to take a few workouts, a little bit more sweat, a little bit more sleep, and you're going to get back to feeling that way. But I'd be lying too if I didn't say, I didn't really want to, I wanted to work out, but not really. Like I wanted to stay in bed, stay on the couch. Today's Tuesday. I normally get out of bed like at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:15. I was like relaxing till almost 9, just doing like some computer thing, just really slow start to the morning, which is no problem. I just like didn't really feel like it. And so sometimes it's easier, to keep eating kind of crappy, to keep staying a little bit lazy, staying in bed a little bit longer. Sometimes it's easier and it almost feels this weird, like bad, good feeling, if that makes sense of like, I know I don't want to be having, more greasy food or stay asleep longer, or just kind of be a little bit more lazy, but it's kind of the easiest thing to do at the moment. So what I mean to say is like, there's a lot less activation energy to just keep feeling meh and being a little slow than there is to kind of activate and light the fire under your own ass and be like, okay, get up, get moving, do the things, get back into your habits and into your routines. So I think that, maybe you're in a spot where you've been in this kind of meh phase. And this is your moment and your reminder that you can get out, you can turn things around. It just takes a little bit. And it takes a little bit, especially if you've been like drinking and you're in your 30s or a little bit older. It's just like, it takes a lot more activation energy to like kind of get things going again, get things rolling. And my legs just totally felt like bricks today. So I'm hoping over the next few days, as I keep moving, keep running, keep doing the stairs, I'm going to feel a little bit more agile and a little bit more lightweight. But I mean, it is what it is. And so I'm just like you in the sense that, we do things that are fun, that are a little bit like, I don't know, air quotes, unhealthy, or going to lead to some of those feelings of meh. We all do those things, but how long are you going to stay there? How long are you going to continue to stay in that lull before shaking things up, stirring the pot a little bit and getting on out of it, right? And the longer we stay in that lull, in that meh phase, and kind of allow ourselves to be, like I said, kind of in that downward spiral, then the more days it takes to get out, right? It's like you could just kind of get it together, rev things up for the next 1 to 3 days, or sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But it doesn't matter where you are. You can always start now. You can always jump into some of these habits. And like this is, this is something that you can refer back to regularly. I mean, we're always going to have maybe some busy weekends or things where there's a lot going on, or a fun party like a wedding event, or maybe your own birthday, or you're celebrating something. There's always going to be those life moments. But where it gets really good and where you can really show up and shine is when you tell yourself, okay, that's over, that's done. Now back to how I've been living and how I show up and how I work out and how I move and all those things. So that's kind of where the real magic is like the faster you can stop and pivot back to where you want to be, the better. Okay. So I wrote down some little notes on this piece of paper here. And these are just some reminders. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that help me kind of get back on track, especially when I've been drinking, eating a lot, not sleeping, not getting enough quality sleep. Let's say it like that. Okay. The first one, expect that you're going to feel kind of crappy the first couple of days, few workouts, right? So I know that on Saturday, we partied a lot, had a fun time at the wedding. Sunday, we went for like a bike ride. I was still feeling pretty tired. Monday was like my first workout back. I was feeling pretty exhausted and like I had a hard time just like getting in that flow. Today was better. Today was a lot better. I just, like I said, my legs felt like bricks and I was feeling really heavy and really tight. So I came back, I did a good stretch session, and I just had to remind myself like, hey, that's what happens. Like sometimes we just feel like crap for the first few days. So expect that you're going to feel a little bit, okay, in the beginning. And just know that it's going to take 2 or 3 good workouts, good sweat sessions, nice long walks, days where you're just like, moving your body a little bit more. It's going to take, a little bit of time before you're back to feeling fit and mobile and, just kind of that. I think maybe you guys know what it's like a tight feeling. You just feel kind of like tight and crunchy and not so flexible. And so it takes a little bit of time to get back there. So that's the first tip for getting back on track, is just expecting that it's going to take a few workouts, maybe 1 to 3 days of you pushing your limits a little bit, stirring your own pot, doing things just when you don't want to, but still doing them anyway, in order to get to that point where you're feeling a little bit better. Okay. Number 2. Water. Stay hydrated. Okay. I'm talking to myself too. Keep hydrated. Hopefully during those weekends when I tried to have like a water in between each drink on Saturday at the wedding. So that was like smart. And I think that was helpful. But the days before I definitely didn't. And leading up, or like the days after leading up to today, so the last few days, I just really had to remind myself, like, drink water, stay hydrated. Look at your urine. Like when you go pee, look at your urine to see, like, is it bright yellow? Is it like a foggy yellow? We want it to be like a really light, almost see-through yellow, right? Or even clear. That's how you will know that you're hydrated enough. And so sometimes I just like, I know I'm not drinking enough water. I go to use the restroom and then I have like a cloudy yellow pee. That's an indication from your body that you are dehydrated, that you need more water. And sometimes we don't feel thirsty, sometimes you might not feel like, oh, I'm super thirsty, but your body will tell you. So just really remember water, especially like first thing in the morning and regularly throughout the day. That will help not only hydrate your cells, but just get rid of some of those feelings of bloat, any tension that you might feel. Sometimes when I'm dehydrated, I can feel it in like my ankles and my knees and my hips. I just like, my body needs that moisture. Our cells need that hydration. So number 1, expect you're going to feel kind of crappy for the first few days, but just really lean into water with lemon, water with ginger, water with ice, water with like a splash of something. Like sometimes I like to do like a splash of tangerine juice, or like a splash, like just a little bit, not juice with a little bit of water, like a splash of something, just to give it a little, flavor, just to have a little extra in there that makes it taste good. Because sometimes I feel like I love the taste of water, but sometimes I feel when I've been eating crappy, then I want to lean more towards like the sparkling waters or juices, or just like other higher sugar beverages that I know are not really hydrating me all that much. So I have to like really pull myself back and be like, no, Lunden, water. Number 3, walking. If you feel like, oh man, that was a weekend or a holiday or something where I'm just like super exhausted, you can still walk. Okay. It might not be time to lift heavy and do some squats or some strength training or whatever, but we can always walk. And we can always walk during that vacation, during that weekend, celebration or whatever we might be doing. The cool thing about being here in San Francisco is that even over the weekend, we had some plans, like I said, rehearsal dinners. We went wine tasting. So we took this bus out somewhere and we had to all meet at this one location, and everything was between like a 20 and a 35-minute walk. So I was like, I'm just going to walk because I have the time. The hills in San Francisco are unreal. And I think, a lot of the locals probably know which streets are ideal to go up. Like, just because you have the shortest distance on Google Maps doesn't mean that it's the easiest distance, because sometimes those hills you feel like you're literally going like directly uphill. So I just reminded myself to keep walking as much as I could. Even yesterday, like I said, I did a short little workout, but I went on 3 quick walks, like 10, 15 minutes, just kind of like around the block, getting outside. And it just felt good to have fresh air, to get in that movement. And walking is really good for reducing stress. And when I say walking, I mean, yeah, you can go for a power walk, but I just mean like easy, slow, relaxed, chill walks where you can look around, look at the scenery, look up a little bit away from your phone, listen to the birds, get some fresh air, like slow, easy, awesome walks. That's what I'm talking about. And, you can go for a while. Like, never underestimate like a 45-minute walk, especially if you feel like, okay, my body's a little bit sore, or I didn't quite get enough sleep or adequate nutrition to really do a workout. Because sometimes we work out and then we end up really run down. Like, it's kind of the difference between needing a rest day and feeling like you're being lazy. It's like sometimes your body just needs a chill pill. But walking is great. And walking in nature is great. And just walking and being in the sun and in the fresh air is going to be really helpful for getting back on track. And I know it might be, kind of roll off the tongue easily when we say like, oh, 10,000 steps, just do 10,000 steps a day. That's a lot of steps. That takes intention. You have to like go for multiple walks a day in order to get to that 10,000 steps, or like a run and a couple walks. So never underestimate that. And if that's where you're starting, back, I think it's a great place to start back is with walking, whether it's duration based or steps based, setting a step goal, or just saying I'm going to, go for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and increasing that a little bit here and there. Walking. All right. Number 4 is workouts. Try to get back into the swing of your workouts. If you are, used to doing, intense workouts, strength training style workouts, lifting heavy, don't expect that after that weekend or that long break or whatever you might have, experienced, don't expect that you're just going to get right back into it and be lifting as heavy and, feel just as great endurance wise and all of that. Like, work back up to your workouts. But if you're used to working out like me, it's like, I kind of want to do something. I did a walk, but then I was like, okay, I also want to do some push-ups and some squats and some lunges and like some things to open up my hips and some balancing exercises. So no, I'm not jumping into the hardest workout of all time, but I am jumping into doing something that's slightly challenging so I can get in a good sweat and just kind of move past these hangover days or these kind of low energy meh days. Also, this is, I guess, a different topic for a different day, but I'll just bring it up, is like, I really track my cycle, my female cycle. And in my Strong at Home for Women program and in my one-on-one coaching with women, I really teach women how to use your cycle and understand where you are hormonally, and allowing that to help guide you in choosing your workouts. So there's different phases of our cycle where we might be feeling a bit more low energy, in need of recovery and things like that. So I know, based on where I am in my cycle, that I'm like, I finished my period like 2 days ago. So I'm going into this phase 2 of my cycle leading up to ovulation. And I generally have energy then. I feel good. I can do intense workouts. I can push my limits. And so I know that about myself because I've been tracking that and learning and understanding that about my body. And so If I was in a later phase of my cycle, let's say like my luteal phase leading up to my period, I know I'm a little bit more low energy then. So would I push myself to do a tough workout after a hard weekend of partying and having fun? Probably not. But because I know, hey, that's the phase of my cycle I'm in right now. Generally, this is a high energy phase for my cycle. I feel like a couple good night sleeps and a couple tougher workouts will be the answer to help me feel a lot better. And today I went, like I said, I did the stairs. Probably I got back like 2 hours ago. Then I had a meal and a bunch of water, took my supplements, and I feel really good. I don't feel exhausted. I don't feel run down. I don't feel like I want to go back to sleep or anything. So I feel like I'm on the right track. Right. So that's a little bit of insight into the type of coaching I do when it comes to workouts in my programs and one-on-one, is just to help you understand you a little bit better, for women, with the cycle. And also, I mean, for men, we have different cycles, and also women in menopause as well. There's ways to track cycles that are not just tracking your period or not, but just understanding throughout different phases of the month or quarter or whatever. There are going to be moments where you might feel a little bit more pizzazz and energy and strength and grit. And there'll be some phases that you get to honor where you are a little bit more calm and low energy and chill. So that's workouts. And then the last thing works for me. Not in all phases of my cycle, but it works for me pretty well. And it works a lot for people that I work with, and even friends that I have in the industry that are, either practitioners or doctors and things like that. But this is always about finding what works for you. Okay. So the last one is fasting. I find that when I'm getting back into the swing of things, after especially indulging in a lot of food and a lot of alcohol, that fasting helps me. Not a full day. I'm not talking about not eating because I ate too much. I'm just talking about shortening my eating window, or getting back to shortening my eating window, because generally I do some sort of fast. Shortening my eating window. So then I'm drinking a bunch of water in the morning, walking, and then having my first meal about 11:30 or 12 or something like that. So about lunchtime. That feels good for me. That helps me get back my mental clarity, get back my focus, get back some of that energy. I find that after drinking a lot and eating a lot over a weekend or whatever, coming back to having a big breakfast and continuously eating a lot doesn't help. It's not necessarily about what I look like, even though clothes might be feeling a little bit tighter or whatever. It's just so much more about what's going to give me my energy, clarity, focus back so I can get back into the groove. And so I did an episode on intermittent fasting, and I'll link it in the show notes, with Brian Grin. And it was a really great conversation with him just about intermittent fasting, how to find, what works for you, if it works for you. And I share in there too, you can get a lot more info in that, but I share there that I do like fasting, and intermittent fasting has been really helpful for me and has been a great tool for me to feel fit and strong and energized, and also like worry a little bit less about preparing food. When you eat less frequently, it's like less stress, at least in my world. And so, I talk a lot about that in there. And also I talk a lot about, how it can be beneficial for women, but not necessarily throughout all phases of our cycle. So, keep that in mind. And it's not like I said, it's not eating or restricting calories because I ate too much. It's just like I ate a lot and drank a lot. So I'm not going to be eating dinner super late and then going to bed and then waking up and having a big breakfast. Even though sometimes after days like that, like the next day, yeah, like maybe Sunday morning. I can't remember exactly what I ate on Sunday morning. But I mean, the next day after maybe drinking and, having a fun night, of course, you're going to wake up and want food and want fuel to feel good, But for the most part, the days after that, it's just kind of getting me more into that downward spiral of just feeling low energy and trying to get the energy back with food and coffee and things like that. So fasting has been super helpful, and a great tool to help me just get back on track and get back into the swing of things after 2 or 3 days. I found that works for me. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tips for getting back on track. I'll say them one more time. Number 1, expect that you're going to feel kind of crappy, but you can do it. It'll just take a little bit of effort on your end. Number 2, water, staying hydrated, keeping that urine like a pale yellow or even clear. Walking. Never underestimate the power of walking. Workouts, push yourself to do a workout if you know that you have that energy. And sometimes it takes learning. So there's been plenty of times that I've pushed myself to do workouts when it wasn't a good idea. So I know what works for me now based on previous experiences of doing, let's say, what was the wrong thing for me personally. So learning that about your body is cool. 5, fasting. Think about just kind of shortening your feeding window so that way your body just gets a chance to recover and relax and kind of get that clarity and focus back. But it's not the case that that is for everyone. So these tips are really going to be like, yeah, you have to test them out. You have to see what works for you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you have any feedback or any aha moments from this episode. You can always send me a DM on Instagram at LifeLikeLondon. I try to answer all the DMs. Or if you get my emails, if you're on my newsletter list, and if you're not, you should be, you can hit reply to any of those emails. They'll go directly to me, and I always try to respond ASAP. And if you're not on my email list, you can get my free workout and mindset calendar by going to lifelikeLondon.com/calendar. Pick up that calendar. You'll get it delivered right to your email. And then from there, any emails I send to you, you can always hit reply and let me know what you think about these episodes. If you want to see something new or different for future episodes, I'm always here to help. So I hope you have a really great day. Love you lots. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast. Hey, do me a favor. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, give us a review. This really helps a lot. And share this with a friend. I'm only one person, and with your help, we can really spread the message of self-love and sweat and change more lives all around the world. I'm Lunden Souza, reminding you that you deserve a life full of passion, presence, and purpose, fueled by self-love and sweat. This podcast is a Hit Spot Austria production.